Dolly Ajibola, who's an aviation lawyer. We will try and reconnect. But in the meantime, let's move on to some other stories. A terminal at Kenya's largest airport, the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, has been closed after a fire broke out on Wednesday night. The Kenya Airports Authority says the blaze at Terminal 1C was caused by a malfunction in baggage belt system, stopping operations at 2 check-in counters. The agency says all passengers and staff were evacuated and the blaze contained by the airport's firefighting team. No one was injured in the incidents. Now, as flood waters recede, communities in Mozambique are working hard to bury their dead with dignity and respect. But the destruction of Cyclone Idai uprooted many families. Some people still don't know whether their family members died in the storm or where their loved ones were buried.
Next up.
The flood waters caused by Cyclone Idai are gradually receding in Mozambique. But as the water level drops, new devastation is revealed. Hundreds of thousands of people have lost their homes, but many, like 28-year-old João Felipe Mawani, have also lost family members. Mawani's mother died in the flooding. Now, he just wants to be able to visit her grave, but he can't. Water is still a barrier, and Mawani is not even sure exactly where his mother is buried.
There is no way to cross to where my mother is buried. Up until now, I don't know exactly where my mother is buried. Up until now, I don't know exactly where my mother's grave is, whether it's here or there.
Cyclone Idai killed at least 700 people across southern Africa, and hundreds of thousands are still displaced. Mozambique has been hit hardest. Communities in Mozambique have been working hard to bury their dead with dignity and respect. The International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, is supporting flood-affected communities to recover bodies, identify them, and bury them in clearly marked graves.
We've had the full range, essentially, of activities that pertain to management of the dead. We've had the opportunity to find human remains and recover them with the authorities and the community. And then we've also visited graves just to get a sense of how the graves are essentially dug and will those graves be recognizable in a number of years. And so we can offer some technical guidance. We provide equipment and, I mean, basic things like spades and hoes, just to even dig a hole, because it is so difficult out here, and many of the communities, they've lost everything.
Mozambican authorities said on Saturday the number of deaths from the cyclone stood at 501, bringing the total of fatalities across Mozambique, Zimbabwe and Malawi to 746. But recovery efforts in Mozambique have now been further hampered by a cholera outbreak in the cyclone-hit port city of Beira.
As Mozambique picks up the pieces from the devastation of Cyclone Idai, the UNHCR is calling the attention of African countries to the realities of climate change. Speaking with our Foreign Affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, the agency's coordinator in Nigeria, Antonio Josie Kanhandula, called out African leaders for not doing enough to curb climate change, and our hope grows in the middle of a disaster like the woman who gave birth on a tree in the central region 25 years after a similar event in the country due to flooding.
No, we are not doing enough, but we can. We know that we have the resources. We know that some of the organizations, private organizations have given us money. Where does that money come from? It comes from Mozambique. It means that we, better organized, can actually use those resources to respond to a crisis that we should have foreseen. And climate change is, the UN now is talking more and more about climate change and telling people that, and politicians, that they need to take preventive measures, not to prevent a cyclone from happening, but to get the people in a better position to weather the cyclone.